So when I look at TJ Watt, I'm looking at TJ Watt as like a quarterback. When you need to play, when you need to stop, when you need to turn over, when you need a pick me up, who you rely on? You rely on TJ Watt. And going into the game, TJ Watt is going to get double teamed, sometimes triple teamed, depending on the situation. So for this young man, TJ Watt, week in and week out, every single time the Pittsburgh Steelers need a play, you can count on TJ Watt. And that's been very impressive to me, because if TJ Watt is not on the field, your team has no hope. And we all know how we feel about Cam Hayward. We've been an avid fan of Cam Hayward. He's a Pro Bowler, All-Pro. Every day, 24/7, he's going to give you whatever he has left in his gas tank every play. TJ as well. But, man, when TJ Watt is on the field, man, he's just totally different. How TJ Watt is carrying this team. I'm looking at how we depend and trust franchise quarterbacks, but he's just doing that from an outside linebacker, sometimes defensive end position. And it's been very impressive.
Brooke, anything you'd like to add on that, just based on what you've seen of Watt's performance this season? And again, even watching on TV, I think it's clear he's nowhere near 100%, but Watt out on the field is better than him on the sidelines. Anything you'd like to add from what you've
100%.
seen with that?
I mean, 100%. That's why he's the NFL's highest paid defensive player. I mean, it's funny because Mike Tomlin used this line when he was talking about Joe Hayden, but I think it also applies to TJ Watt. He said it's not just what he does tangibly, it's the intangible presence that he has. And I think that is so true for TJ, because yes, he has the sack numbers, and I definitely think that he would break the sack record for the NFL, Michael Strahan's record, if he played a full season. But to me, there is just a different level of energy on the defense when he's out there. He is the guy who just gets you amped up. I mean, seeing the kick after a sack. I think the sack that Cam Hayward had, TJ was the one that got up and celebrated. And that's not him stealing the spotlight or anything. Like, that is just how fired up he gets playing football. And I don't think that you have to look any further than the answer he gave. It was the Vikings week. I asked him just about hey, Cam Hayward says you play angry. Like, where is that anger coming from? And instead of being I just flip a switch, he said that. But then he also went into this long answer about how passionate he is for football, how much he truly loves to play the game. And just, it was almost I don't think he planned it this way, but it was like a love letter monologue to football. And it just gave you a window into this guy's the definition of he is a football guy in every kind of good way. That is a guy that you want on your team. You want fighting for your team. I mean, I think that he is the team MVP. I think that he definitely deserves MVP consideration. I don't think that he'll win it because there are other players that are making such a strong case, but defensive player of the year, it feels like this should be his year, even though, I mean, Micah Parsons is having a great season. Myles Garrett also having a great season. But to me, TJ Watt should be the front runner.
Yeah, TJ doing a lot of this, and he missed a few games. So to still lead the league in sacks and miss a few games, that says a lot about you. That means you're highly productive on the field. And I agree with you 100%, bro. He just brings a different kind of energy when he's on the field. And I think me and Mark had talked about this earlier. I'm TJ Watt this year is definitely playing mad. Not saying TJ Watt didn't play mad for the years behind, but for this year, it just seems and it feels different. He's playing very upset. And for a guy to be that passionate and to be getting paid that amount of money, and for him to tell his agent, hold on, man, I'm getting tired of going back and forth. Let me go ahead and sign this contract so I can get my butt down to practice. That says a lot about TJ Watt and his mentality and how truly passionate he is about this game. So when you just look at TJ, man, he's just different, man. It's just them guys don't come around too often. The Michael Parsons, the Aaron Donalds, the TJ Watts, they just don't. So when you see it, you acknowledge it. Man, I wish he was a teammate of mine, because I would have loved to play with TJ Watt just by looking at him and seeing how he moves and just seeing how he loves the game of football. It's just all on the field.
Right. He is definitely a signature Steeler. I mean, he is the the essence of what you want as a Steeler. And by the way, I looked up his answer, and as soon as I saw the transcript, I was like, oh yeah, of course, how did I blank on this? Mike Tomlin said about the not calling a timeout at the end of the half, he said, I was more concerned with stopping them than I was creating a drive opportunity for us. I wanted them to make decisions on going from second down to third down on time unless they burn one of their timeouts. They chose not to, so the clock ran out. We can get excited about subsequent drives, but you've got to get the stop first, and I didn't take that for granted.